Guess who? The Guess Who? The Guess Who with Jacob Gibbs. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Now let's start the show. Here with the legendary Gary Hollingsworth. You like it when people call you in like that?
Yeah, I love that.
I'll put some kind of little cheering or something at the end of it.
Yeah. There we go. Make it sound good. It sound important.
I knew today was going to be a good day to get you because it was raining. I'm like, he might not play golf today. You know, it's not going to mess up any plans, I hope. And
That's a good plan. This time of year is a great time of year to play golf. It's not too
man.
hot. It's cool. There's a little breeze blowing. You may have a little pop-up thunderstorm every now and then, but for the most part, this in the fall is my favorite time of year to play.
See, I like it too. I like spring like this. It's been kind of muggy though, man.
It has been.
It's been bad.
I think tomorrow's going to be a little worse than today was. So.
Yeah. We haven't really got our humidity set in.
No, it's coming.
Yeah,
Just wait. It's coming.
This is Gary Hollingsworth at quarterback at Alabama back 88.
80. Well, I got there in '86, right,
86.
as a freshman, and hung out there for a few years on the bench and sideline, and keeping a clipboard, and actually started playing in '89, '90. It was the 2 years I actually started.
Really? So
yeah.
Did you redshirt any?
I redshirted my first year, and then actually played baseball 1 year while I was there.
You played college baseball
yeah.
too?
So
Really?
I was a pitcher there. Yeah, I was so far down the depth chart in football. So I'd made a deal with Coach Perkins because that's who I signed under was Ray Perkins, and I wanted to play college baseball. I actually thought I'd get recruited playing baseball. And
baseball would be an easier sport.
So it
as
was.
Far as for your body.
So I'd gone out and played. I think I pitched in 15, 16, 17 games, something like that, my freshman year of baseball. And
I never knew that.
so yeah.
That's neat because I've always just known you for football,
Yeah.
you know. But a lot of quarterbacks do that though.
Yeah,
Like,
you sit there and look at it from the standpoint of, I didn't throw super hard, but I could throw strikes. And
right, you were able to hit the target.
But back then at that time, today you've got all these guys that train and everybody throws like a gazillion miles an hour. Well, back then if you threw 84, 85, 86 miles an hour,
Which is still fast.
you know, but again, there wasn't a lot of guys walking around truly throwing 90. Now you have a guy here pop submit. Oh, that dude's throwing 90. No, he's not. But today, because kids are trained now. They specialize in baseball. They specialize in all these sports, and they're maximizing their ability. They're building their body for that sport, right?
Yeah.
And I also think that's one of the reasons you got injuries, as many injuries you do today, because kids are only playing one sport.
Yeah, and they probably, I've been hearing too, like they start a lot of these kids out too early, like,
Oh, sure.
you know,
Sure.
Because back when I was, it's probably the same way whenever you were in school. You weren't supposed to throw a curveball till you were like 14 or 15.
Oh,
Do you remember that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, 'cause
absolutely.
Did you ever, like, all right, so being a pitcher, being a quarterback, like, it's kind of hard to ask, it's hard to explain this, but how did you know, like, you had the gift of, like, throwing? Does that make sense? Like, was it at an early age, or was it, do you feel like you had to work at it, or was you more?
I was probably more natural with it. I was never was a big guy, right? Never muscular, never any of that kind of stuff. And Homer Smith, who was my offensive coordinator, he referred it to like a buggy whip, right?
Yeah.
And I could throw from kind of any angle and played shortstop.
Real versatile.
And, so you could throw and you had to kind of throw from every angle, which eventually helped in football, right?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
you're rolling left or rolling out and on the move. And so it helped, but having a baseball background to be able to do that. And so, but no, it was. I'm not going to say I threw harder than everybody, but I was probably in the upper half, let's put it that way.
Well, being able to throw too and like hit targets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I've always wondered, okay, like, you're 6'4", but you probably was not that when was you same height whenever you was in college? Football?
Yeah, I was probably 6'4". I was 6'4" in high school.
Throwing over that line.
So.
Trying to keep up with everything. Plus, like for me, it'd be like trying to throw over privacy fence.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Though?
I get it, yeah.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
once you got that snap and you got these everybody's 6 foot. I feel
Yeah.
like 6'2", or everybody's kind of wrestling around. Plus, you got to keep up with somebody coming from the side and getting in the middle.
Oh yeah. I mean, well, and the thing is, I mean, you hear quarterbacks talk about, right? At a younger age, the game's fast, right? You're trying to keep up with everything, and it's a blur. But the older you get, the more you understand it. It slows the game down, and you start seeing the guys. You know, to me, Tom Brady's a great example. You look at Peyton Manning at the end of his career. Drew Brees, another great example. I mean, there's a ton of guys you can refer to, but they talk about the game slowing down.
Right.
You know, well, they can anticipate. They take their first step or two, drop back. Well, they go to the line of scrimmage where they kind of got an idea of what they're going to do based on study and film and all that. So their first step or two, they're confirming what they originally thought was fixing to happen based on film study, down and distance, formation and all that. So they scheme all that to get the matchups they want. I mean, that's some of the things you see with Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they scheme stuff to get matchups they want. I mean,
So you kind of already, well, whenever you're fixing to take that snap,
Yeah.
you're kind of already like, all right, I know I'm gonna hit. I know who I'm gonna hit probably.
yeah, well, I mean, it's based on, all right, we're going to get in this formation, right? Because if we get in this formation more based on film,
Right.
based on 6 or 7 games worth of film, down and distance, this formation, they're going to play this defense. So we get that to try to get a matchup, whether if it was back then, it was Kevin Turner, fullback, Lamont Russell, tight end, Marco Battle, Craig Sanderson, Prince Wembley, any of those guys that we felt we had an advantage with, right?
Right.
So we would get in a formation to get that advantage. You know, like you watch Lane Kiffin today, right? Back when he was at Alabama.
Lane smart.
You know, how many times when he was on the sideline, right? At the snap, he threw his hands up, touchdown. There's a bunch.
Oh, yeah, he already knew it was coming. Yeah.
Because he knew they had the matchup they wanted based on study. And then sure enough, they get in it. And then, you hear the story about him talking about doing paper, rock, scissors to get to see who caught the touchdown. And that's what the receivers did while Lane was there. I mean, they were that good at predicting, forecasting, studying, finding the weakness.
On
And
the defense.
yeah, and that's to me what your better offenses do. I mean, and it's because if you look at offense today, if you look at sports, I mean, football at any level, it favors the offense right now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right. I mean, especially getting the NFL, you can't touch them 5 yards down the field, a bunch of that kind of stuff. Things you can do in college, right? You can move and you can do the run play stuff, and the linemen go downfield certain, because that messes up the reads of linebackers a lot, right?
Yeah, because they might come
Yeah,
up or
so now all of a sudden you got to take a step forward because you think it's a run play. Well, now all of a sudden you got to get back in coverage. Well,
and it's too late.
and it's too late. So now all of a sudden you're seeing, how many times did Tua hit that slant behind those guys? Back when they were in their prime, we're running all those RPOs because they're messing up the run recognition for the linebackers.
Oh yeah.
So now all of a sudden you're creating a window to throw in, which is what makes it so hard to defend. I mean, so.
It's interesting, man, because I'm like where I played at, like every other play, the coach had to like pull out a clipboard and we like drew something
Right.
up. You know what I mean? Y'all probably had 100 plays offensively, at least, because I mean just
We probably didn't have that many plays. What we had was we probably had 20, 30 formations. But you run the same play out of a different formation. Well, the blocking the same, all that. Well, the defense thinks it's a different play.
yeah. I
But
get
yet,
what you're
but
saying.
yet you can run one play off a bunch of different formations, a bunch of different motions. And so
Even
now all of a
the
sudden it looks
22
different.
die.
Yeah, so now all of a sudden it looks different.
Yeah, you can come out of the eye, you can
Yeah.
come out of shotgun.
Yeah, you
come,
can go weak pro, strong pro. I mean, you can go a bunch of that stuff.
What was the most comfortable? Underneath the center or shotgun? Most of the time. I mean, I feel like shotgun would be a lot more comfortable.
I mean, it was based on who you played, right?
Yeah.
Now you give up a lot of your run stuff, your running plays, because you're not as much of a threat, right? To sit there and
Right.
pop something to fullback quick if you're both 5 yards deep, right?
Right, yeah.
But again, it depended on who you played. Like we played Ole Miss or Mississippi State. I forget who it was. We've been my junior year, right? Homer Smith's our coordinator, and so back then they blitzed a ton, right? blitzed a ton. So he said, okay, going into the game, because it's a lot easier to audible, right, from a pass to a run is from a run to a pass.
I can see that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got blocking schemes, you got all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But if you call your huddle calls a pass, well, then you go find the run, because every defense has got a weakness, right? They got a bubble in it somewhere, so you just go find it.
Yeah.
Again, based on down distance, based on formation, based on what they do. So every huddle call we had that game was a pass. I mean, it was 60 or 70 plays.
Because if you got up there and it wasn't right,
yeah,
you could audible it off to a handoff or
yeah,
something.
that's exactly right. So that's a lot easier to do under center, for example.
Right.
But because your run's still in play and you still got your full
Play action.
Yeah, everything.
Works a lot better.
Toss, sweep, I mean, you still got everything.
Yeah.
But if you're in the shotgun from a passing standpoint, you're not turning your back to the line, right, on a pass. You're standing there, and that's the reason a lot of these guys today do it.
I feel more comfortable in the shotgun. I ain't gonna lie to you. I just feel like there'd be like so much going on.
Well,
you know what I mean? You got 11 guys.
We played.
You know,
We played. Let's see, Miami my junior year in the Sugar Bowl. Well, back then they had like, I forget their defensive line, but 3 of the 4 got drafted, right?
Oh, really?
And so we went in the shotgun the whole game to give me more time to get the ball off. I mean, literally. I mean, but it was. I mean, you go back and look at those games, and especially like that one. And they ran a 4-3, and I mean, the things they did, because they were just great athletes. And we're sitting there struggling to get the ball off. And our guys did a great job.
Yeah, just one of those teams
Yeah.
that are stacked.
Yeah, and they won the national championship year. They beat us
Miami used to be
30-something, I think 30, maybe 33-25. I think that's the score. Something like that. I mean, it was close.
right. Yeah.
But
Do they smack talk you much over there?
Oh,
Or are they
it
like,
was a
"Hey,
bunch.
Gary,
Oh, it was a bunch.
got your number.
It was a bunch. That was back. And again, I mean, they were winning so much back then, and they had great players, great athletes, great coaches.
Oh yeah, Miami. I remember as a kid, Miami was always really good.
Yeah, they were, and they were confident as well.
Well, see, and they're one of those teams too that could come in this next year and
Oh, sure.
beat the tar out of some folks.
Well, I just think with what's going on today in college football, I mean, you can sit there and go through the portal, and obviously you got teams that have embraced it more than others, I think, right?
I don't like this. I don't like all this that's going
Well,
on.
I mean, to me, it's just nothing but free agency is all it is.
Yeah.
You
Do
know,
you like it?
no,
Phil? I don't
no.
either. I just don't.
Listen, I'm for, right? I'm for paying players, 100%.
Me too. But like being able to like just
But I just
use the
think
portal
it.
and all that.
I think it teaches terrible life lessons to a kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, guess what? Things are hard. I'm not playing. I'm not competing.
Quit.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go somewhere else. So what happens the first job you get, right?
Oh yeah, then there.
Things go a little rough. I'm not happy. Guess what? I'm not gonna try hard. All right, guess what? I get married, right? Well, guess what? It's a little hard, and because
Oh yeah, marriage is.
hey, guess what?
Life
is hard,
Yes,
right?
it
Life's
is.
hard.
Life. It
So-
throws you a lot of curveballs.
To me, even in the SEC, the majority of the guys in the SEC aren't going to play in the NFL. And even if they make it to the NFL, they're not going to play long, right?
Right. Yeah.
That's what NFL stands for, not for long. You know? So, but to me, college, you're there to learn and figure out life,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah. I mean.
And so to me, that's what college does. College teaches you to interact with people. I'm from a small town, Hamilton, Alabama. You know, to me, you go there and you learn how to interact with people.
Mm-hmm.
And then you come out and it gives you hopefully a better communication, better skill set, how to communicate with people, deal with people, you know.
Yeah. The people. I mean.
And if you're just, every time something doesn't go your way, well, hey, I'm going to transfer. Well, I'm going to leave again. I'm leaving again. That's terrible life lessons.
It really is.
And I think that's setting the kids up for failure later in life.
Oh yeah, I hadn't really thought about it like that, but you know, even Lawson Schaefer was on
Mm-hmm.
here. We were talking about really good basketball players.
Yeah.
And you know, I said Sears.
Mm-hmm.
I said Sears is good. When Sears is clicking, he's kind of like the quarterback of that basketball
Yeah,
team.
no doubt. No doubt.
But still, he may not ever step in the NBA.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's just.
Listen, it's a fraction of a percent
Oh, it's,
of kids that are playing, because every little league kid's parents dream, oh, he's going to the major leagues, right? Golden arm man, he's That's our ticket, right? But it's a fraction of a percent of those guys that ever get drafted, ever have a chance. So you got to figure out what you're going to do, right? But sit there and figure out a way to be happy at whatever level it is, right? I mean, there's so many parents. I think today there's so many kids.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if I'm not going to play in the SEC, I'm not going. Well,
See, I'd go. If I was good at something, I would go.
If you enjoy it.
What? Yeah, if you enjoy it. I really wish I would have put all my time into golf.
Yeah, golf's great.
Really
Listen, I thoroughly enjoy golf. But it's one of those things of, again, whatever you do, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got to enjoy it.
Yeah,
I mean that's just like work. You sit there and we all go to work and we got work we got to do. It's got to get done. And, you kind of need. I had a boss of mine tell me one time, he didn't like money, but he liked things money could buy. So that's the reason we work, right?
Oh yeah.
But the reality is, we probably spend more waking hours with the people we work with than our family.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's
You doubt. So I'm just a strong believer. You got to like what you do. I don't care if it's sports. I don't care if it's work. Whatever it is, you got to like what you do. You got to enjoy yourself. Got to have fun. Can't take yourself too serious, right?
Right. Yeah. I'm never serious, which I think I'm not serious much.
But I think that's what these kids get into. They get in that mindset that I've got to make it to the Major League Baseball. I got to make it to the NFL. I got to make it to the NBA, and they miss a lot of the stuff, right?
Oh yeah, just
teamwork. Well, they miss the experience. I mean, I went up and had the opportunity to meet Coach DeBoer a few weeks ago, and just listening to him, to me, he's super impressive, right?
Where's he at?
He was up in Huntsville at a little Red Elephant Club thing.
Okay.
So, not Red Elephant, what was it? Crimson? I forget what it was. We went to, but I had a chance to meet him because, again, he's super impressive in interviews and that kind of stuff. But in person, he's even more impressive to me.
Yeah.
I mean, and everything I hear about him, hey, he's the same guy on camera as he is off camera. And to me, that's super neat. And he spoke about, they asked him, well, what did it feel like walking out of the tunnel at A-Day for the first time? Seeing 70,000 people, and he said, I tried to enjoy the moment. He said, I challenge our kids.
Yeah.
Enjoy the moment. You're here a short amount of time, right?
You are, yeah.
And so
you never know day to day.
And so especially you got injuries, you got all kind of stuff you can get into. So man, you got to enjoy the time you're there. Don't wish it away. Hey, guess what, man? I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna be gone. I'm doing this, right. And I think so many people get caught up in wanting to be other places. They're wanting to be in the NFL. They're wanting to be, and they don't enjoy where they're at.
Yeah.
So
if you actually probably took it more fun, you might even go further.
Oh, absolutely. Well,
like I know a lot of kids whenever I was growing up, like football was like their life and stuff. But I mean, it was fun to them. Yeah. You know what I mean? And they were some of the best athletes we had. But parents ruin a lot of it for kids, man. I mean, I talk to some people on the phone. It's like, my son should be doing this, you know what I mean, or that, and the kids hearing that.
Well, sure.
So then him and his little buddies, they're not going to get along now because he should be the quarterback, or I bet even like going to Alabama. Whenever you went and having to be on the sideline and stuff and sit for what a year, 2 years?
Try 3.
3 years. Yeah. It humbled you a lot.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Well, every person that's on scholarship there, even your walk-on guys, majority of the people on that field, let's just cover that. Majority of the people on that field was the best athlete on their team.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So they've been told from a young age how good you are, and more times than not, probably been treated a little bit different, right?
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
So when you get there, now there's 100 of them. That was all the best player on their team in high school.
Fixing to face off against how many quarterbacks?
Right. And so, I think when I got there, I think we had 5 high school All-Americans on the team when I got there.
Wow.
And I actually signed with 2. Jeff Dunn and Billy Ray was 2 high school All-Americans I signed with. But Alabama's where I wanted to go.
Right. Was you always an Alabama fan?
No, I grew up an Auburn fan.
I was wondering because I know your 2 brothers are Auburn fans. I'm like, how did
No, my aunts, uncles, cousins, and most of them graduated. On my dad's side, all graduated from Auburn. I used to go to several Auburn games a year.
Yeah.
But no, and then I'll tell you a quick story about it. I mean,
I
it
love
was
it.
so I played quarterback my senior year of high school. That was it.
That's the only time you played quarterback.
So Ryan, my older brother, was a quarterback before. We ran the wishbone.
I can never remember his name.
And needless to say, I can't run. So we changed the offense. Our head coach and offensive coordinator changed the offense to the run and shoot. This was when, I think it was Mouse Davis was the guy's name out in Texas.
So you wasn't a scrambler at all?
No.
Okay. You was kind of like a Mac Jones.
Yeah.
You know Mac?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
So they go out and get this guy's book. And it was the spread. It's what, and you probably don't remember Andre Ware, but let's see, in 80, maybe it was 89, I think he won the Heisman. But they put up some ungodly numbers out of what you call the spread, which is today's offense.
It is.
You're getting you're getting 5 guys out every route. But we did that in high school in like 1984, 85.
I bet that was different for.
And so we had Craig Sanderson, who went to Alabama with me. Great speed.
Was he your center?
No.
He was your receiver.
He was a receiver.
Okay, yeah.
And so it was almost unfair in high school throwing against that, right?
I mean,
And
sure.
but it was. I mean, so that kind of got it started, right? And then you go to Alabama, and all of a sudden you're there, and I think it was an hour and 15, hour and a half from Hamilton, right?
Oh, yeah.
And at the time, Auburn and Alabama had Mike Shula, who was like me, couldn't run. So, but Auburn with Coach Dye had what was the guy's name? Pat Washington was their quarterback, and they were running the I-bone or something like that. I think is what they called it. And Coach Dye said, "I was like, Coach, that's not what I do." You know, he said, "Here we got a guy named Jeff Berger. He's our backup. Pat's a senior. You got to trust me. We're going to throw the ball next year." But I'm sitting there watching practice, and all they did was run the ball. You know, the quarterback's running. I'm like, "Yeah, Coach, that ain't what I do."
Back in the day, though, it was a lot more ground and pound.
Oh, it's all it was.
Yeah,
That's all it was.
a lot more running than.
So I get there and decide to go to Alabama. And again, like I said, we've got 4 or 5 high school All-Americans there, and kind of sat and, played baseball a year there, bided my time a little bit. And then actually, so I'm the backup in 89. And Jeff Dunn gets hurt in our second or third game, I think it was. Banged his knee up and ran a quarterback sneak or something. Banged his knee up. And the good thing was I didn't have time to get nervous because it was in the middle of a drive, and
You got
so.
Now, was you the guy on the sideline that did the?
No, back then you always had a clipboard. So I'm at the kind of the other end of the field,
Okay.
charting plays. I mean, what we talked about earlier.
Because the quarterback kind of works when he's
Yeah,
not playing,
absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
And so they started yelling, because Jeff played one more play, then he started hobbling off. Well, I see him hobbling off. I'm like, that's not good. So I start getting down where it's at. So back then, that's how long ago it was. Nothing was wireless back then. Everything was corded, right? All your headphones, everything was corded.
Yeah, and there wasn't no cell phone.
No, there's
you
none.
couldn't
No.
text nobody.
So I'd set my helmet right there where all the cables came out because nobody's going to be there or whatever. So I go to get my helmet because Jeff's out, right? He's done.
Was you thinking it might be you or somebody else, or was you
No,
pretty dead set
no.
he was going?
No, it was me.
Okay, yeah.
It was me. So I get over there. Well, my helmet's not where it was. I mean, now the play clock's already running down, and I'm like, man, where's my helmet? And well, they'd had some problems with the headphones that day, so they'd moved my helmet, plugged cables different in, and all this kind of stuff.
Oh,
I freaked out. But again, but looking back, it probably helped me more than anything because I didn't have time to get nervous, right?
Oh yeah.
And so we go in. It was against Kentucky, and we went ahead and won the ball game. But hindsight, that's one of the funniest stories because I literally couldn't find my helmet when it's time for me to go in. So
that sounds like something I would have done. Honestly, guess somebody give me their help.
yeah, exactly.
So you finally got your start, or you come in. That was the first time you
Yeah.
actually got to go out.
That's right.
Had you had much playing time, like where you
No.
might have been beating somebody bad? Or
I had not played a down for 3 years.
how'd you do? How'd you come out?
Well, we went. I forget who we played our first game, and I got some mop up that game.
Yeah.
Which was good. But no, we went on. I think we were up 3-0 when I came in. I think we ended up beating them 16-9 or something like that.
It was a lot lower scoring back then.
Oh,
too, wasn't
absolutely.
it? Yeah, it
Absolutely.
was a lot more hard nosed.
And it was set up. I mean, your linebackers weren't cover guys. Your linebackers were in there to plug holes and stop the run. Right.
Yeah.
And so we go. Let's see. So Vanderbilt was my first start. It's coming to monsoon, and we barely got out there with a win with those guys. So then my next start, we go to Ole Miss. We played them in Jackson. So the year before, they'd beat us in Tuscaloosa for homecoming.
Oh man.
And
we were at Holly Pond. We were always somebody's homecoming dude. Every away game we were homecoming.
So so we start the game. So we pretty much always started. My first play would be to Craig. That was kind of Homer's deal, getting me comfortable, right? He would get out some route, we'd throw to
That was your number one guy.
Yeah.
That was your,
and
your guy.
so we called it out. And sure enough, Craig ran it out. And I threw it out past him. He tips it up, trying to tip it back to himself. Tips it straight up in the air. DB intercepts it, runs it back, almost scores.
Oh God.
So next series we go. I think we went 3 and out. We shanked the punt. So now they're coming in from our 30, right? They score again. So now they're up 14-0. I think next time they blocked a punt. We go 3 and out, they block a punt. So we're down 21-0 with 7 minutes into the game.
No kidding.
Yeah. And so we're kind of in panic mode, right? So
I bet.
so I'm sitting, because again, the season before, they beat us at homecoming. We had not completed a pass. Our quarterbacks had not completed a pass in that game. 0.
In the homecoming game?
Yeah, in the whole game, 0.
Oh God.
And so now we're down 21-0, and so Homer Smith gets on the headphones with me. And he's like, "All right, Gary, this is a quarterback's dream." I'm like, "Coach, this is more like a nightmare to me, right?" He said, "Listen," and again, I think we're 7 minutes into the game, right?
And it's 21-0.
And he said, "We're going no huddle, 2-minute offense." Okay, here we go. So we kind of game plan before the game. If we get in that situation, here's what we're going to do. So I had a small list of plays I could call, and we started there. We go down the field and score. By the time it's halftime, we're up 48-21.
No kidding. So
we turned it loose, and they ended up, I think, having a couple guys get injured, so they kind of had to play a base defense.
Right. Yeah.
And we was able to take advantage. I think we ended up beating them 60-something to 27-28.
So you
like
got
that.
y'all's revenge. You
Yeah,
gave all
that's
the
exactly
Alabama
right.
fans a
That's
little
right.
scared
That's right.
at first.
So after I graduate, I'm at the Birmingham quarterback club for a meeting. And Coach Brewer, who was the head coach,
Yeah.
right, for that. And I went up to him at the reception there and spoke to him a little bit. And so when he starts, he said, "Before I get started tonight, I want to tell you all a story of Jackson, Mississippi." And he goes into the whole thing and starts telling the story about that game. And he said, "They've got a new quarterback. It's his second start. We've beat them the year before. They didn't complete a pass."
They come in feeling good.
And he said, "We're up 21-0 on these guys." He said, "I had one of the coaches on the headphones tell me, 'Hey, we're about to teach the University of Alabama a thing or two about football today.'" He said, "Our fans are going crazy. Our players are excited." And he said, then they started throwing the ball. He said, and they scored. They scored again. They scored again. They scored again. He said, now they're up 40-something to 20.
So he just went to clicking.
And he said, so now I've got coaches ready to jump out of the booth. We don't have any fans left at halftime. But it was from a quarterback standpoint that was a great game.
Because that was your first start, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, it was really my second. Oh, Vanderbilt was my first, so it was really my second start.
One. Yeah.
So,
dang man, that's good.
but it was good. I mean, it was so back then it was. I think I ended up throwing 5 touchdowns that day, which
really,
which actually that stood
As a record, probably. Right?
Well, up until Tua and Mac Jones and some of those guys got there, so it stood for a year or two.
With Alabama, you think Jalen Hurts?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's been incredible
Oh,
in the
absolutely.
NFL. Mac Jones.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Mac Jones was third string, wasn't
Yeah,
he?
that's right. That's right.
And then you had Tua.
Yeah.
I mean, that was 3 quarterbacks that probably any other college team would have took and started.
No doubt.
Yeah, I mean,
No doubt.
Yeah. You got to give it to Hurts, man, because I was like, that's a good
Classy guy.
Yeah.
Classy guy.
And I think kind of the way he got out wasn't as bad as just, hey, my feelings hurt. I think he was more like, this guy's better than me. I'm not going to get a chance. And there was probably a lot of people pushing him. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
dude, you really, if you could go somewhere else, like, you will play. You know, it kind of, sometimes it's kind of hard
Well,
with the transfer, you know, but it's like, I could
think-
see, like, in his situation,
Yeah.
is one of very few.
yeah.
You know, he didn't get hurt.
No.
No, heck, he was over there just,
Yeah.
you know, he was always
He
getting
was-
props or
He was what I call a great teammate, right?
he was. Yeah.
Because he was one of the first guys cheering Tua on. I mean, you could see it. He was genuinely excited, genuinely happy for the success of the team.
He was, yeah.
And then there's some other games where he came in, right, and actually saved us, right? So he kept preparing to be ready to play when his time came.
Right,
in,
yeah.
right.
Hurts,
but no,
he does. I think Hurts is. I really do. I think he's a good person, man.
I
really
mean,
think
well,
he's-
just look at his actions.
Mhm.
Look at the people he surrounds himself with. Look at how he handles himself. The things he
had
does.
soul up.
Yeah,
You know, he wasn't. He never. You know, he was like, man, he did great.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was just. I think he really just
yeah.
knew like Tua's gonna be playing here.
Well, I think from a quarterback standpoint, you can never admit somebody's better than you are. Right?
Really?
Well, I mean, the timing may be different. This system may be better for him. You know,
and you're kind of like, I mean, you're the team leader.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you've got to be the guy.
Yeah.
And but again, I think the situation is in, you know,
I do too, man, where they were stacked.
that he had an opportunity to go do something somewhere else and be successful. And again, it worked out great for him.
It did. It
Yeah.
did. Yeah. And I was glad to see it, honestly.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I really was.
Absolutely.
This dude right here has been,
Yeah.
you know, especially when he was starting.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden it's like, okay, this guy's.
Well, I mean, he's still, if I'm not mistaken, one of the winningest quarterbacks in Alabama history.
I would say so.
Because
yeah.
I think he only had like 1 or 2 losses. I mean, he was like 26-2, maybe 26-1, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a crazy stat.
It really is a because, dang man, y'all went. They went almost 2 seasons and not losing.
Yeah, they won a bunch.
Yeah, because I was.
They won a bunch.
As an Auburn fan.
A few rough seasons there.
Oh man, what do you think? What do you think the future for Alabama? With
I think
Nick
it's-
Saban leaving.
I think it's good, man. I really
You do? You think it's gonna be all right?
Well, if you go back and look at every coach since Coach Bryant, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every coach since Coach Bryant has won at least 10 games in a season. Think about that.
I hadn't even thought about that. Yeah.
Every coach, I mean, you go from Coach Perkins, you go to Coach Curry, Coach Stallings, every one of them, all the Mike years that we went through,
Yeah. Oh yeah, Mike Cross.
every
First shoot.
Mike Shula, Mike Dubose,
Yeah. There were several months. Yeah.
you know, Franchione, all those guys have won at least 10 games.
I never really thought about that.
So that A on the chest means something.
Mm-hmm.
And then you know, our new coach talked about it. He said, when I go into a home, right, to recruit a kid,
Mm-hmm.
that means something when I walk in and that letter's on my chest.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
You know, and so I think, I don't care who's there, I think Alabama's going to get good players, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And so then I think it's how you coach them up, what kind of coach, you know, because you listen to our new guy and he's sitting there talking about, because someone asked him in a little open thing, you know, what, let's see, how did they put that? How's it different, right? He said, man, it's just coaching ball. He said, I don't care if it's NAIA, I don't care if it's, I don't care what level you're at. He said, it's just ball. And he said, man, I love coaching ball. And man, to me, that was a great answer.
Yeah.
And so if you're just coaching, you're truly into coaching, making kids better, right?
Yeah.
Better people, better students, better players. and you're developing those people.
See, that's
Right.
what was Saban. I think he really was a disciplined guy.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like you didn't just.
Absolutely.
I know you scored a 102-yard touchdown, but the way you celebrated was.
Well, I mean,
Terrible.
it was so much of it's process driven, right? I mean, you hear him saying, I'm sure a bunch of people outside of Alabama fans got sick of hearing about the process, right? Because that's what he talked about. So I don't care if you're up 2 points or 22 points or 42 points. There was a standard he expected the starter all the way down to the fifth string guy to play to.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's the reason you'd see him, we're up 40 points. And he's over there yelling, throwing his hat, yelling at people, because he wants that standard not to change, no matter who's in there. Right?
No matter how bad you win in there.
So it was more of a business deal, do your job, here's the standard. And if you do these things,
Yeah.
and you want to play at the next level, right?
Yeah.
You're going to have an opportunity if you come here, because guess what? We're going to develop you.
Oh yeah, he has quarterbacks especially
Yeah.
now kickers, field goal kickers.
Yeah, but
There was a lot of times where I'm like, if this guy, please God, let this come down to a field goal.
but now the last few years we had a really good one. The last several years.
You have. Yes, you have. I as an Auburn fan, I had no room to talk about nothing. Me and my wife, we swapped the basketball almost completely.
Hey, how about Alabama basketball?
Man, they're good.
Hey, we're coming into a basketball school.
Yeah. That y'all have been though.
Yeah,
think about not even.
We just turned our whole roster over. Looks like. I mean, I sit there and saw we got a guy from Rutgers, right? Transfer portal guy. I think in the last day or two, the big center. I think we just got.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't keep up with it much until it starts.
Yeah.
Are you a Jocks guy?
No.
If I get in your car,
No.
is it going to be all sports? Or?
No, you'll be Rick and Bub. I enjoy Rick and Bub in the mornings.
I like Ricky Bubba.
Because they crack me up.
They do, man, and I like it because they're able to tell the truth
Yeah.
without getting in trouble.
Yeah,
but
that's
it's
right.
like, I see where he's coming about that. You know? And there's sometimes even where I'm like, hey, man, Rick Burgess is talking to me right now.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
that's
saying?
right.
Like they can
That's right.
convert over and
They do.
do whatever.
Yeah.
So playing for Stallings,
Yep.
that was your last year,
Yep.
right?
Last year, that's right.
And that was his first year.
His first year. Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of? I mean, like, what was that like?
It
'Cause
was,
I feel like he's a good
Oh,
guy.
listen, he's a great man. So my junior year, we lead the conference in scoring. We averaged like 30-something points a game.
Really?
So Coach Stallings comes in. Our offensive team goal was score 17 points. That was it. Because he came from the NFL, right? So you played percentages. So if we score 17 points a game, we don't have a turnover on our side of the field, right?
Yeah.
And we don't give X amount of what he called hidden yards, which is penalties, right?
Right. Yeah.
We'll win X% of our games.
So
And
he had it down to like a
Oh,
science.
it was a science, and he came in. He put everything in himself. He put the offensive, defensive, special teams game plans in himself, and he was very hands-on. And
I feel like he would just from. I thought I was telling you about that earlier. Like
Yeah.
watching him on that SEC
Yeah.
network special or whatever. I was
Wow.
like, this is a good dude.
yeah, oh, listen, he's been great to me. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Through the years and stayed in touch and that kind of stuff. So
Do you still like when you go to the game now? Which you said you've done some commentating or
yeah, a
played
little pay-per-view back in the day when it was pay-per-view years ago.
So you had to pay for the.
Yeah, you actually had to, I guess, whatever channel or box they put in your house that you would pay for Alabama games. Yeah.
Oh, Lord, I don't even remember that.
You're not old enough to remember that.
I guess not, dude. When it comes, anytime people ask me about like the football, that kind of stuff, yeah, I've been having a lot of neck injuries,
Right.
Or a lot of, not injuries, a lot of neck problems,
Right.
And they ask me everywhere I go. Like when I went and got my MRI, they're like, "Did you play football?" Yeah, but it wasn't. I don't know if that was it or not. You know,
Right.
They're like, well, hitting dummies and the people that was laying hits are the ones that got it done.
Right.
Hey, you know what? I may have got it. Because I
Guilty.
did over a lot, you know. At 110 pounds, I was probably like 5'7", 5'8", 10 pounds maybe when I
Oh, wow.
graduated. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's why I'm getting my son into plumbing and electrical stuff.
Yeah.
I know.
Golf.
Golf, yes. Yeah. And that's what you like to do now.
Oh, I enjoy it. Listen, that's kind of what turned me, my competition, my need for competition, kind of switched to golf, right?
Yeah.
And because it's not only you playing the person, you're also playing the course. I mean, I don't care if you're out there by yourself, right?
Mhm.
I mean, you're still playing the course, you're trying to better your score. And here's the frustrating thing about it to me.
Golf is very frustrating.
In college, you had a 300-pound defensive lineman come to hit you, right?
Mm-hmm.
College baseball, you're sitting there trying to strike a guy out, and you're throwing it 60 feet, 6 inches, whatever it is.
Oh, yeah.
That little white ball just sits there. There's nobody running at you. There's nobody yelling at you more times than not. There may be some people yell at
So
me.
smart calling.
But it's just you're trying to hit this little ball and go put it in that hole 300-something yards away. But yet, there's days you think you've got it figured out. You go out 2 or 3 days later, and it's like you've never hit a ball before.
Dude, I'm like that all the time. I can actually play the first 3 holes and just lose 9 balls.
Yeah.
And then I'll par that 4th hole
Mm-hmm.
or something crazy, and I'm like, hell, I'm back.
There it is. There it is. I'm the
I
man.
remember what it is now. I was looking up.
That's right. Because
and everybody knows how to like self-diagnose
Yeah,
what
yeah.
they're doing. You
well,
know?
there's so many small things you can get into with
Oh
golf.
man, there it is. I
Right.
mean,
You know, if your club face is open a degree or whatever it is, and all of a sudden
which
it does
is
this,
not
you know,
much either.
you know, you come over the top, you get too low, you get stuck behind them, and you get all this stuff. I mean, there's so many things that can go wrong. And to me, that's the reason I think it's so frustrating. But again, there's just a little white ball sitting on a tee. You should be able to hit it, right? You should be able to put it in the hole from 3 feet.
I have missed it several times. Well, I was practicing swing.
Yeah,
I
there
didn't
you
make
go.
contact.
That's
you know?
right. That's right.
That that's what I was gonna say on here. You live at Terry Pines,
Yeah.
and you know out there, you have your own cart, and
Yep,
you
that's
can
right.
come out there and play. Have you always been into golf? Was you into golf like in high school and all?
No,
Or was that
no,
kind of a
no,
later
no.
Because y'all are good. You
I-
and Fast. I've never played a run, but
I picked up a golf club. David Smith was a quarterback in front of me. And I started playing golf when I was probably a sophomore in college. It was the first time I ever hit a ball. And so then I kind of got into it. We had our university course here, and I got to where I was going out there more and more. And actually got to be friends with a bunch of the golfers.
oh really?
So my senior year, right,
Yeah.
I carry over one class, so I'd stay on scholarship. And so it met from like 11 to 12, 15 on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Golf class?
No,
Oh.
just like GBA 490. So it
Okay.
was kind of your last business class to get out of the
Oh,
business
okay.
school.
I got you.
Well, the rest of the time I'm trying to play golf. And so I'm out on the golf course, and one of the golfers knew he probably wasn't going to be good enough to make it on tour. So he wanted to be a teaching pro, right? So he kind of took me under his wing and kind of taught me how to play golf. And kind of,
Well, that's cool.
oh, it was awesome.
Yeah, that
It was awesome. And then, so I got to where I'd go out and practice with those guys. Well, you had, which is still on the senior tour. I think Dickie Pride's still playing on the senior tour. You had a guy from Huntsville, Spike McCrory, was on Alabama's
I
team
think
at the
I've heard
time,
of that name, yeah.
and just great guys, you know. And so I'd go out and kind of hang out with them and be on the range with them. And Henry was the guy that kind of helped me. Right?
That was the one that kind
Yeah,
of coached you.
that kind of taught me how to play, and you know. So again, it kind of gives you an understanding of the game, right? To know, all right. So if you're in the middle of a round and you're doing this, well, if you adjust this way, it should fix that or whatever. Versus,
See,
yeah.
that's nice too.
Oh, it was great. It
Yeah,
was
to
great.
be able to like say, okay, this is,
Yeah.
I think this is what I'm doing. My thing is, man, sometimes I'm doing so much. You know, it's like through your mind, it's like keep my head down, keep your feet still.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
right.
It's do I need to tighten my grip or is my club face open? You know,
Yeah.
which makes it look like I'm lying.
Yeah.
I've asked people that.
And my
like,
clothes,
they
my,
know.
my hips open, my shoulders closed. I mean, again, there's a gazillion things you can do. But one of the best things I've ever heard was try to have a one-way miss, right? I don't care if I slice it every time, but just make sure you don't hook it, right?
Right, yeah.
So
I mean, kind of play
if I'm gonna hook it or I'm gonna draw it every time, all right, do that every time. but find that swing you can repeat, right?
Right.
Because if I'm gonna line up to play a cut and I hook it, well, you're in that trees, hazard, whatever it is you're in. But if you can have that one-way miss, right? Now, I've still got a two-way miss. but in theory, I want to have a one-way miss, right?
Oh yeah.
So,
But see, when I took lessons from DeBoer, Stephen DeBoer,
yeah.
that's what he would tell me. He's like, I mean, I would shank one, or just kind of blade it.
yeah,
He's like, that ain't too bad, man. I think I rode 170 yards.
right.
Or whatever.
It's a wind cheater, right?
And it's like, it's like, well, it wasn't pretty. Yeah, but I mean, you were trying to hit an 8-iron. You weren't going to hit it that far.
Right.
You know what
That's
I mean?
right.
It's like,
Yeah.
at least it was straight. You can find it.
That's right.
And playing par golf.
Mm-hmm.
Because, see, I'm bad about, and it's stupid because I'm not nowhere near good enough to even try some of the stuff I do.
Right.
It's like, how far out are we? Oh, it's like 250. I'm going to pull my 3-wood out. Nah, hell, I'm going to get my driver off the deck.
I'm going.
It's like I could hit a 7-iron twice.
Right.
Where I'm just going to have to try to play one out of the woods.
Yeah.
Or 6 feet in front of where
Yeah.
I just tried this driver off the ground.
But again, that's all the decisions you got to make in golf. I mean,
And
so-
it's fun. It sure is nice.
That's
It's
right.
like, boy, you wrote that one.
That's right.
It's like,
giving you high fives, right?
oh yeah, you get them fist bumps. And, hey, no matter, you can verify this too. No matter how crappy you're playing, when you do make an accidental putt or a chip or something, it is almost like, okay, I forgot everything else.
I'm back. I'm back, man. Or you've had a terrible day for 17 holes, right? And you come in and par birdie 18, and I'm ready to play tomorrow.
Calling so and so.
That's right.
I think there's a tournament Saturday.
That's right. I'm back.
Golf though, there is a lot of good golfers around here.
Oh, absolutely there is.
Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely there is.
kids too,
Yeah.
man. Some of these kids.
Well, I think they're starting at an earlier age, obviously, than I did.
But
But they're getting so much training. Their weightlifting is for golf, right?
Right.
I mean, so they're getting coached up from an early age of how to generate the most torque. I mean, you look at guys on tour. For the most part, I mean, yes, Scotty Scheffler's a big guy, but for the most part, they're small guys.
Oh yeah, I know.
And man, they're cranking it 300 plus like it's nothing.
It has a lot more to do with that contact.
Oh,
that
absolutely.
size, I think.
Well, it's
Sometimes
that
too.
contact. It's how much club head speed you're generating. I mean, they've got all those numbers, right? And so they're maximizing kick points and all this kind of stuff, and their spin rates and so on and so on. I don't understand all that stuff. So
I mean, there's some kids out there. It's like, well, the all right boys. No
yeah.
lie.
Oh yeah.
9th grade or so, they would
Yeah.
shoot par, 2 over maybe,
Well, I think
or and even be
Yeah.
under some.
I think the little tournament they just had out at Terry Pines. I think what's the little kid? The little Drake kid wanted like 7 under.
Daggone. And he's young too.
Yeah, I think he's like a junior in high school.
Yeah. Wow.
And but I think those kids are learning early age to compete, right?
Yeah.
They're specializing it. They're putting time in. I mean, they're at that course. They're chipping and putting. What do we want to do? Man, I'm gonna go to the range hit driver. Well, they're disciplined enough to go work on their putting, their short game, and that kind of stuff. Oh man, bang, pull out the big stick, right? I'm going to the range.
If I can't get off the tee box,
Oh, it's a miserable day.
yeah, with something,
Yeah, it's a miserable day.
you know, I mean, like, it really does. It screws me up bad,
Yeah.
like mentally.
For sure.
And I'm not very good.
For sure.
It's just one of those things. I'm more of the guy I think people invite for me to go is because it will be kind of comical.
Yeah, it's a
You
good
know,
time, right?
Something to be funny about
It's a
it.
good
you know?
time.
Yeah, for sure. Let's get into, let's talk about when you got diagnosed with cancer.
Okay.
That's been
5 years ago now, I
5
guess it
years,
was.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a crazy thing. I'd gone probably a couple of weeks, and shaving had felt a little knot.
So you just had a knot.
Yeah, just a knot. So my wife finally convinced me, told me I was going to the doctor to get it checked out. So I go see Dr. Bostic there in town. He's like, it's probably a infected Slav gland. We'll treat it. And, if it doesn't go away, then we'll get you to the ENT and we'll figure out what it is. So
Yeah.
I take antibiotics 7-10 days, whatever it was. Didn't go away. so then he said, well, I'm gonna line you up with an ENT, and went and saw Dr. Black, who comes up from St. Vincent's, comes to to Coleman once a week. So he's like, do you dip? No, sir. You smoke? No, sir.
Because you don't do anything.
Any of that. And he said, well, have you been sick in the last 2 weeks? No, sir. He said, so is this your first cancer?
Oh, really?
I mean, no blood samples, no nothing. It was.
So he just knew by word.
Yeah, he said, my belief is mass in the neck, somebody your age, is cancer or proven different. So that's a Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
So he said, I'm gonna get you to St. Vincent's, we'll do a biopsy, CT scan, and we'll figure out what it is.
Yeah.
So I go down to Birmingham, me and my wife Sharon go down there on Friday, we get that done. So I get a call from his assistant on Monday. Said, Dr. Black needs to see you in his office this afternoon. Well, being the smart aleck I am, I said, well, I'm assuming it's not telling me that I don't have cancer, and I kind of laughed. She didn't.
Oh yeah, no, women don't
You know,
take those
and
jokes
so-
like that.
So I called my wife, like, hey, we need to get to Birmingham. We go down, and he's like, well, it is cancer. And he said, it looks like it's in your tongue.
Really?
And he said, I want to do a PET scan to make sure it's contained there. And so that's Monday.
Did they do a biopsy? Is that what they did?
Yeah,
Or
oh
was
yeah,
it just-
yeah, they did a biopsy. And so I go back to Grandview and do a PET scan on Thursday. And he calls Thursday afternoon, it's like, hey, great news. So I'm thinking, all right, you know what? He said,
it's not cancer.
he
That's
said-
what would be going on.
he said, it's not your tongue, it's in your left tonsil. And he said it's in several of your lymph nodes. Well, and I mean, I was ignorant when it came to cancer. And, because I'd always heard, hey man, if you got your lymph nodes, you're done, right?
Oh yeah.
And so we'd already made the determination, hey, if it's cancer, we're gonna cut it out. Because you can go two ways. You can either try to treat it first, and then if treatment doesn't get it, then you can cut it out, or you can go vice versa.
But now you still have to do treatments no matter what, too, right?
Well, no,
No, really? Okay.
And so we went and had surgery, took out both tonsils. I think took out 16 or 17 lymph nodes.
Wow.
But the margins weren't enough, so I was going to have radiation and chemo still. And
When you're talking about lymph nodes, like, was that
Yeah.
throughout?
well,
or
no,
just in your neck?
just in your neck. That little beauty scar I've got
Yeah.
right there.
So there is that many.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
there's tons of it.
Yeah.
And
I never thought about it. Actually.
so we get through surgery. Hey, go back, check up. Hey, looks like you're still going to have radiation and chemo. And so I'd ask him about another opinion. So I ended up going to MD Anderson, and I ended up having 33 rounds of radiation and 6 rounds of chemo at MD Anderson over a 6.5 week time span. And so
Now,
just
is that in Texas?
Yeah.
Is that like,
Houston, Texas.
like the Mayo? Is it the Mayo?
No, it's actually MD Anderson.
Oh, really?
It's what it's called.
Yeah.
And so they're the depending on who you listen to. I mean, they're one of the, if not the top cancer. I mean, you've got them for head and neck. You've got them. You've got I think it's Sloan Kettering in New York is one of the top ratings. You've got the Mayo Clinic is obviously the top one.
Yeah.
But it's simply one of those deals. I was fortunate enough I could got in. He helped me get in, and so I just got back last week. I flew out for my checkup. So I fly out once a year.
Okay, so
And
you go out there.
yeah, I go out there and have my checkup done. And so got a clean bill still, and so I'll go back this time next year. So yeah,
Yeah, that is awesome.
Well, I think I'm super blessed to have somebody like Dr. Bostic, Dr. Black, that was aggressive with it. Because again, from the time I was diagnosed with cancer, 8 days later, I'm having surgery, having it cut out.
Oh yeah, so they didn't.
I mean, it's super quick and kind of how it happened. And
That was probably one of the first. You were probably one of the first ones after they seen you that they were. You know what I'm saying? Like they went.
It was
yeah,
it was super quick, and then to me, because once you get to a place like MD Anderson, right, there's people coming there from all over the world, and you didn't have to look very far to find somebody that was worse off than you were, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can have a little pity party for yourself, why me, and all that kind of stuff, but hey, man, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And
you can't do anything to control
No,
it.
and so from that standpoint, after being a little while of why me and my own little pity party, then it was all right.
I think that'd be natural. I
So
think
either today, either cancer's going to win or I'm going to win. So kind of the competitive part kicked in, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to kick its tail today, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to kick treatment's tail today. and that's kind of the approach I took every day, was kind of going at it. Yeah. And because I had radiation treatments every day at like 2:00. So I'd get up and try to do my little routine and work a little bit in the mornings and then eat lunch and then, you know, by that time, and then I'd go have my competition with radiation and cancer.
That's
So-
you know, out of all the achievements and stuff like you've done, I mean, like beating cancer, I would think.
Oh, it's by far the hardest competition I've ever had. I'll say that.
You got a guy that played quarterback at Alabama. You know, I mean,
But
you know,
no, just I'm super blessed, because I'll say this. I think there's a lot of people that's had what I've had that didn't have an opportunity to go to a place like MD Anderson, right?
Right. Yeah.
That didn't have the results I've had. Again, I was fortunate enough to we caught it early. Had doctors that were aggressive and wanted to go fast and figure it out and get it done. And so
That's awesome. That's a blessing.
well, listen,
Yeah,
the team I had at MD Anderson was unbelievable. Like, it truly was a team. Like, I had an ENT who was the head of our team, a radiologist, a dietitian, a speech pathologist, and a dentist. So I saw that team, you know, and so, but it was a deal of, you know, our goal is for you not to have a feeding tube. You know, if you keep your weight at a certain deal and you don't lose so much.
It's very hard to eat, right?
Oh,
I mean, everything
well,
just tastes terrible.
Well,
right?
for what I had, you actually lost your taste buds. So, and then because basically what radiation is light, right?
Yeah.
And so you get burnt, you get sunburnt every day for 33 days. And it gets progressively worse the deeper it goes in. And it gets so you can't eat. You don't want to eat.
Right, like even just
yeah,
trying to chew it up and
yeah.
swallow.
And so your throat's burnt because they're burning your tonsils and where your tonsils were and all that stuff. So I ended up getting into I would drink a smoothie every day, like a 1,300 calorie smoothie. I try to drink a couple of those a day. Just try to keep your calories
Did you do
in,
yogurt
right?
and stuff? Did you do like
No, it's pure liquid's the only thing I had. But again, I didn't want to have to get into the feeding tube and all that. And again, there's a lot of people that have what I had, has feeding tubes, you know, and that was kind of a deal that, again, I think I look at myself as fortunate, you know, that I didn't have to have a feeding tube.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's knock on wood on the backside of it, 5 years and 5+ years now.
That's awesome, dude.
And you know, listen, I still still go and still talk and
everything
eat.
you're doing, dude.
So,
you know, it's like
It's a big one.
it is.
It's a big win.
Yes, it is, man. Yeah, I mean, I didn't even think about all that too with the eating stuff. My great uncle died of cancer, but he had lung cancer, which he smoked and stuff. But I saw him literally just shrivel up.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
just, but I think he was already to the point where he had almost just, it was what it was. He was doing
Right.
treatments, you know, and stuff. But I really did. I seen him just turn to skin and bones. You
Well,
know what I mean?
I think, obviously cancer is a nasty disease. I mean,
Oh, it is, yeah.
it doesn't discriminate. It's not white, black. I mean, it's not anything. It's not male, female. I mean, it doesn't discriminate. I mean,
It gets it can get anybody.
Yeah, and that's to me. It kind of goes back to you'll never regret saying you went to the best, right?
Mhm.
And a good friend of mine, Chuck Watkins, was one of the ones who tried to get me to MD
like
Anderson.
Chuck, yeah.
You know, and he was. I mean, he's like, hey, you got to go here, you got to go there, because I mean, my intent was to have my treatments in Birmingham, and you know, but you get out there, and man, they're so specialized in it because I talked to them about coming back to Birmingham, and he's like, well, here's the thing. All we do, the main building at MD Anderson on the 10th floor, right?
Was the cancer like you had? Was it?
It's all they treat is head and neck cancer all day, every day.
So those people see a lot of it.
Yeah,
too.
and he said,
Yeah.
you're a guy at home, right? He may treat breast cancer, colon cancer, pancreatic cancer. He may treat, he said he may not see one of you, right?
Right, yeah.
He said, but we'll see 20 of you a day here.
Wow.
And so if you start thinking about that, all right, if you specialize in it,
That's the only
thing you
ones
do.
you're stuck- Yeah.
And so just having those guys on your team, that's all they do. You know, and again, if you do something repetitive, you're gonna get good at it, right?
Oh, yeah, for
And
sure.
and so now all of a sudden you've got some of the top people in the world, that's taking care of you. And so again, that's kind of where I got of you'll never regret going to the best, because guess what? If the best can't help you, right?
Nobody can.
It wasn't meant, you weren't meant to be healed, right?
Right, yeah.
So
I could see, yeah. My dad actually got in his bloodstream, he has like an amyloidosis or something. That's what they call it.
yeah,
And talking about that, talking about where you went,
Yeah.
that's all they studied was
Yeah.
the ears, nose, and throat, and,
Yeah.
and stuff. With the amyloidosis, when he got out there, that's what those people done. I think he
Yeah.
went to Vanderbilt.
yeah. There
And
you
he
go.
said, man, they knew so much about it. Because like around here even, it's kind of
Mhm.
like, well,
Yeah.
it can be this, can do
Sure.
that, or whatever. Yeah, you get people studying. And they actually just sent him home. They were like, you have it,
Mhm.
but it's not the kind that like takes you
Right.
out.
Well, see, it was amazing to me because they told me exactly when stuff was going to happen. There's like 2.5 weeks you're going to lose your taste buds. Guess what? 2.5 weeks I lost my taste buds.
So you were already kind of preparing
Yeah,
yourself.
and so you get into your third, fourth week, your radiation's going to start hurting. You really start getting into the tail end of it.
I can't imagine.
You're going to have a bunch of pain. Your skin's going to start peeling. Because again, you're basically getting sunburned every day, right?
Yeah.
But they nailed everything all along the way, And the funny thing was, whatever you do not get on the internet.
Oh yeah, heck no, Google's
Yeah.
not your friend.
They said because your cancer, where it's at, what stage it is, what kind of shape you're in, every bit of that's variables, right?
Right, yeah.
But yet you're getting Aunt Sally's first cousin twice removed is going to diagnose you and tell you what you need to do or what you got. And they said it causes more stress, right? which is bad for you. I mean, stress is bad.
Oh yeah. It is.
So stay off.
Stress can kill you.
Yeah. But their deal was stay off the internet. Don't get on there. Don't self-diagnose. Listen to us. We're the experts. Let us do it, right? But it was. I mean, for what I had, it couldn't have worked out any better for me. And I truly consider myself blessed again that I had an opportunity to go there. I had doctors that saw after me. I had friends around me. I had people praying for me.
Yeah.
That helped me get through it. My family was super supportive, and Sharon and the kids were there all along the way. And that's probably one of the hardest things I had to do was tell the kids.
I can't.
Because we had just lost their granddad to cancer. And then so for me to have to tell them, oh, by the way, I've got it. And again, I mean, it's for me, it was very uneducated at the time to cancer and really what it was and how it affected you.
I'm not sorry with it either.
But yeah, hearing the big C word, that's a little life altering. So.
All right, so I was having little minor difficulties there. I've never been in a podcast and the computer say it was down to 10%. And this computer's like a 9. I think you were playing at Alabama when this computer came out.
It's old. It's old.
Somebody told me, they're like, dude, a Toshiba? Really? My cousin rebuilt it. It's basically like an old car with a new motor in it.
There you go. There you go.
All right, we got to get into this. I want to ask you on this, man. Do you remember me seeing you like for several years there where you was getting sacked by the Auburn guy?
Yeah, I do.
You do remember that?
Oh yeah.
Do you remember it?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Let's tell me like your most memorable Alabama and Auburn story.
I'd say one of the, probably not the best one, but going down there the first time in '89, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously it was a big deal because the Iron Ball had always been played in Birmingham. And so we're coming in. We were 10-0. I think Auburn was maybe 9-1, something like that. There we was ranked, I think 2. Auburn was ranked 8 or 9, whatever it was. They were ranked. And so just the build up to that game, the lead up to it, and because typically like when you come out for pregame, you do a little walk around and whatever. Yeah, you got your parents in the stands, and there's a few other people, but pretty much that's it.
80.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this game, no, it was different. I mean, the stands for walk around was already packed. I mean, because there was that much excitement around that game, and I know Auburn fans were excited, right? First time it being there. So we get out, I guess, the start of that thing. We had the ball inside Auburn's 20 maybe 2 or 3 times. And I think we came away with 6 points, 3 points, something. I forget what it was. But the first time Auburn scored, and that place went bananas. And that's still this day, right? All the places we played at Penn State, we played at LSU, we played the Sugar Bowl, played at Neyland Stadium. That was still the loudest. Because Craig Sanderson, one of my best friends, standing right beside me when they scored, and we're trying to talk. Well, you couldn't hear each other. That close together, you know. And,
you can see. I mean, I know you believed it, but I mean, where you're actually trying to tell somebody something, and it's like you couldn't scream to somebody next right beside you.
You know, but for that game, I mean, it was a great game, back and forth, and ultimately ended up losing. But still, from an experience standpoint, right, to be able to be the quarterback goes into that game.
Oh man!
Because I thoroughly enjoyed going to opposing stadiums. Right?
You did like that,
and for whatever little sick mind I had, I enjoyed that.
You want to beat them at their house?
Yeah, I mean, because like we beat Tennessee at their place. But
they say that's allowed stuff.
But to see them quiet and leaving, I mean, that was just like a rush you got. You know, like we played LSU there, our junior year, beat them there, see them leaving quiet. I mean, that was just, again, kind of probably a sick thing on my part, but I enjoyed that. But talking about a great memory. So then the next year we go to back to Birmingham, and so we had not beat Auburn 4 years in a row. The first 4 years I'm there, we didn't beat them.
Really?
Hell, there's no player wants to leave Alabama having never beat Auburn, right?
Yeah.
So we get up. I think we're up 13-7. I think is what it was. Late in the fourth quarter, we got the ball, and it's one of the neatest exchanges I ever had in sports. Period. So we run a play and it's close, and so we have to be on the right hash. I think is what it was, but we're right beside Auburn's sideline. So they're bringing the chains out, and we're kind of looking. Well, next thing I notice, I'm right beside Coach Dye. And it's me and him kind of looking down the line. You know, and I said, well, Coach, you think we got it? No, Gary, I don't think you got it. I said, oh, I think we got it. and it was just a little neat exchange, you know. And so, sure enough, we didn't get it. And we're on it was close to midfield probably, maybe on Auburn's side a little bit, whatever it was. And so we're only up 6 points, right? So if we go for it, because it was 4th down. So if we go for it, don't make it. Auburn's got the ball short field. They got a chance to score 7. They beat us.
Oh, yeah.
You know. So
Trick play.
So I sat there and asked Coach Dye while standing there, what's they call his 4th down? I said, all right, Coach, what would you do? Well, Gary, I'd punt that son of a gun. And exactly what he said, but he said, I'd punt that son of a gun.
So it was probably hoping.
Yeah, so sure enough, Coach Stallings, we send on our team, and we run a play up the middle, got the first down, got down enough yardage. Philip Doyle kicks a field goal, and we win 16-7. So that was probably one of the best experiences. Because again, as an Alabama guy, right?
You want to beat Alabama.
You want to beat Alabama. You don't want to leave having been beat 5 years in a row, right?
I would have brought that up tonight, actually, if that would have happened.
Yeah, I understand. I wouldn't have blamed you either.
I ain't gonna bring up nothing from the past 5 years
ago,
way back. But you know, really honestly, I didn't watch it even back then.
Yeah.
You know, actually, when I first started kind of watching football, Nick Saban was actually coming on to Alabama. It was just a little bit before that.
Yeah.
Really and truly. I always thought was an Auburn fan, but I wasn't.
Well, I just think it's one of those things that probably the fans get into it a lot more than players do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just the rivalry part. And I'll say there's probably more Alabama and Auburn fans that never went to school there are probably probably ones some of the most serious about it, right? Get the maddest, get the most ticked off when the team don't do well.
That's your Facebook picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, my God, if that wouldn't have happened down there, and they wanted to throw that flat, that wasn't pass interference.
Yeah, their team's never committed a penalty, right?
I will agree with you. Like the players I know, like you, Lawson Shaver, you know, Brits, they don't ever, you know, y'all are really good fans, you know.
Well, it's like people. I mean, I don't watch games with a lot of people. I mean, I don't yell, I don't scream. I mean, I kind of watch it, and I probably watch it more from the standpoint of schemes and what they're trying to do to us than in terms of what we try to do to them. And so my wife gets a little excited at me because I don't show enough emotion during the ball game.
It's like I've been there.
Yeah, I mean, you have been.
We're in bad shape.
So, it's not good.
One thing with Auburn, there's been a lot of times where it gets down like the fourth quarter,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, do you think they're going to start playing? Do you think they're still messing with it? No. Like Jacksonville State is fishing to beat us. You know,
Well,
the people.
I mean, sometimes you have like a 4th and 31, right?
Yeah.
I
That's a tough subject.
thought I'd get a jab back in.
That was a good game last
That was a great game. It was a
That
great game.
No matter what, man, they always show.
Well,
you know.
I mean, you always hear, right? Well, you throw out the record books for rivalry games, not just Auburn, Alabama, any rivalry game,
Mm-hmm.
and you do, because you do. I mean, there's a pride thing. Because guess what? Most of the guys on Auburn's team and our team, you grew up playing against each other in high school, right? I mean, so you had maybe had a rival, or maybe you were on the same team in high school, but you know the guys on the other side, and you don't want to listen to it, right?
No.
Like when you get together and you see each other at the beach, or you see each other at different places, you don't want to listen to it.
There's some people I hate seeing like.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Man, hey, listen, I'm gonna walk to the other side of the street, just so I don't have to listen.
Oh my God, you haven't kidding me. I ain't seen that guy in 2 years.
Yeah, exactly.
3 hours after the game,
Yeah.
I ran into him.
That's right.
Dude, I have enjoyed this.
I have too.
I have.
It's been good.
Really have, man.
I appreciate you having me on.
Man, I appreciate you coming. We've been talking about this with you for.
It's just been a while.
It's been a good time. I wasn't gonna bring you on during football season. I really didn't remember much about football. I don't want to. What do you think the future of?
I think it's good. I mean, I think you look at him everywhere he's been. He's won, right?
Yeah. He used to have savings number.
And he can. Well, I
I
think he's a good coach. And I think, kind of like Coach DeBoer talks about, he is coach's ball. And he can find those mismatches. He can recruit, right? I mean, you sit there and look at y'all's receiver room right now. I mean, Auburn's receiver room is stacked. But I think he does a good job recruiting. I think he does a good job game day coaching. And I think he surrounds himself with good coaches.
It's just going to take a little while.
Yeah, to me, that's one of the problems I think we run into with society today too, especially when it comes to coaches. Now, obviously the money they're making, right?
Oh man.
That you don't necessarily have time a lot of times to develop players, right? Because we talked about earlier. Well, they get impatient. They want to play now. Guess what? I'm a 4 or 5 star, and I've been told how good I am my whole life. So you're not buying into the system. You're not buying into come in to be developed. And because years ago, if you played your junior and senior year, I don't care what position, especially quarterback. I mean, starting for 2 years was a big deal. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But today you've got kids that want to start 3 and 4 years. And now I'll say this: they're coming in a lot more polished than I came in as a quarterback, right? Because now you're going to 7-on-7 camps. You got quarterback coaches. These kids are going to now. That they're getting coaching year round, like we talked about earlier, specializing stuff.
Too,
and so they're getting taught so much more stuff at an earlier age. They are coming in better prepared, more ready to play and compete. Because you look around the country. There's a lot of guys that are freshmen and sophomores that are competing at a high level.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of good young players.
But the more money we pay coaches, the more the fans' expectation is. Guess what? Well, if we pay you close to what Alabama's paying Saban, you ought to win too, right?
Oh yeah.
And so you get caught up in that when all of a sudden we're going to see how much we pay a guy, right? Because guess what? We're going to buy us wins because we buy this coach, right? And so now to me that's bled over into athletes with NIL. Well, guess what? I'm gonna go get a good team, right? And so now all of a sudden that gets in the kids' heads. Well, I'm not necessarily gonna go where I'm gonna get developed. I'm gonna go where the most money is. And so I think all that goes into it. You start seeing a kid that's transferring 3 and 4 times.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous.
Oh, it is. You know, and I just think it's
Like
hard.
you said, you know, it's not teaching people life lessons.
It's not good life lessons, man. It's really not. So,
It's not. Well, dude, man.
enjoyed it.
No, I appreciate it, dude. I appreciate
let's do it
very
again
much.
sometime.
We will. We're
All
going to. I'm gonna get your brother on here pretty soon. Get him to tell me about how bad he's been whipping you at golf. Have you played with Vest in a while?
Oh yeah, he can talk about that for a good while.
I love him, man. All right. Thank you, Gary.
All right, see you, man.